Week 2 of Cowboys OTAs, and Micah Parsons is still not with the team, and Mike McCarthy did not exactly seem happy about it. On today's press conference, we'll talk about if it's a big deal, if it's a small deal, and the missed opportunity that Mike McCarthy believes was, took place because of Parsons' absence. We'll talk about that, and we'll also talk about CeeDee Lamb smiling at the latest NFL news. Here we go. What is up, everyone, and welcome to A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. I'm your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central from Dallas On Demand Sports Talk Network, and catching up with you guys in between with quick-hitting videos Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Welcome, everyone, into the show. Cowboys are in week 2 of OTAs, and we expected Micah Parsons to not be around for week 1. Not because of the contract, not because of the contract stuff, like is the case for CeeDee Lamb, but instead because Micah preferred to train individually and develop a little bit. He was training in this boxing gym and all that. But it was reported by Dallas Morning News and several other people, and the Cowboys themselves said it, that they expected Micah to be in-house for week 2 of OTAs. However, he wasn't around today for practice. He was around on Wednesday for a gym session, but not for on-field work on Thursday, which was notable. But what was even more so was Mike McCarthy's reaction to the whole thing. Now, big disclaimer, and this is an important one. This is not a show where I'm trying to be like, oh man, there's a lot of drama going on in Dallas. Micah sucks for not being around with the Cowboys, but it's still relevant and it's still worth discussing, in my opinion, because of McCarthy's comments. So let's get to hearing a little bit of what Mike McCarthy had to say first when asked about him not being around, and you'll notice it in his voice, what I mean with the not exactly thrilled about the situation. And we'll also talk about Mike McCarthy explaining what is the missed opportunity due to Micah's absence. Saying Micah and Mike over and over again might lead me to trip here and there, but I'm sorry about that. Now, here is Mike McCarthy talking about the attendance, man. Take a listen.
Micah Parsons is not here today.
I'm not doing attendance. Yeah, that's
doesn't sound.
We try to have some, lightness to it.
What went wrong right here?
Well,
So Micah Parsons is.
You guys might be hearing it. I'm not hearing it though. All right, give me a second. Let's see if we can troubleshoot this very quickly. Sorry about that. In the meantime, though, let me say hi. We've got Joe, we've got a Kath, we've got who else do we have here? Gregory, we've got Toxic Tom in the chat. Thank you everyone for entering the show. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. Let's see if we can fix this.
Yeah, that's we try to have some lightness to it.
Can't we?
I'm not going to come up here and talk about one player, especially.
I'm not sure if you're hearing this at all.
98. Well,
kind of like a problem with the audio. I apologize for that. You know what? I'll read the quotes instead. I wish I could play you the audio, but something went wrong with the computer. Don't worry, we'll adapt. We'll make this work, no problem. But I wished, you could hear the boys. That's why I went with the audio clips. But hey, sometimes things happen, right? So Mike McCarthy was asked about Parsons not being around, and he replied, I'm not doing attendance. And he even threw his hands up. I'm not going to come up here and talk about one player when 98% are here. Now, two things that are notable about this. One is that this is a change of tone in the whole Micah is not around thing, right? Last week, it was more about, he's training individually. He'll be back with us next week. And now it's like, do not ask me about this, right? Kind of like the Nick Saban clip. I'm not changing it. So quit asking, right? That was kind of like what really caught my attention because it was a change of tone. Now, my view in this whole thing is that why try to lay it out like you'll be there in week 2 and then not be there? And again, I'm not trying to make this a big thing when it's probably really not, and by September we'll have forgotten all about it. But it's still something that kind of feels, a little bit underwhelming and maybe a little bit disappointing. I'll say it because listen, Micah is not doing a contract holdout like CeeDee is. With CeeDee, you're in a spot where, hey, do what you got to do, go get your bag, stick it to them, right? Stick it to Jerry, stick it to Steven, get your money, man. But Micah is not holding out. Micah is just straight up like, I'd rather not be with the team. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'll try to, unfiltered right here. Honestly, I wish he was there in the following sense. There's no way that a few days at OTAs messes up with his development. There's just no way. There's no way that Micah is undergoing like these super specific private training sessions where if he misses this few days in May, everything will go off the rails and he won't be a defensive player of the year candidate in 2024. There's no way. And this is not me saying that, hey, he would be better off working with the Cowboys coaches. This is me saying, how about you spend some on-field time with Marshawn Nyland, the second-round draft pick that will matter a whole lot because you lost Durance Armstrong, you lost Dante Fowler Jr., and this is coming from somebody, and again, man, this is me removing the filter a little bit maybe, but I love Micah when he gets in front of the mic and he's like, man, I'm trying to be future Hall of Famer. I'm trying to be legendary. I'm trying to get everybody on the same page and be fully committed and be extremely bought in because that's what it takes to win a championship. And then it's like, nah, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to OTAs. Like I would be lying if I didn't say it's a little bit inconsistent. I would be lying. And again, we cannot go to an extreme here and be like, oh, Micah Parsons is a terrible teammate. We should all hate on him. No, because that would be stupid. But I kind of wish that, he should probably be there. And I cannot get on board with the whole idea about, oh, he's undergoing this super specialized private, training when in reality, he's boxing. He's not like working with an equivalent to Duke Manyweather, right? He's not working with this defensive line guru or this former Hall of Famer defensive lineman. He is training in a boxing gym. At least that's how it's been laid out for us. And this is not him holding out for a contract because the whole point of doing so is to make it public and make noise about the whole situation and really leverage all that. So it's a weird situation about kind of like it's about team morale more than anything else, in my opinion. And in the words of Mike McCarthy, he said, anytime you have a chance to be together, it is an opportunity to improve, whether it's in the mental realm, the physical realm, which is limited, obviously, at this time of year, and the emotional connection and so forth. But, it's a long year. Training camp is really the heightened focus for all that. Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity that has been missed. So your head coach is saying that it's a missed opportunity because you're not there. At the very least, that is noteworthy. I'm not saying this is drama. I'm not saying this is trouble in Dallas. I'm not saying there's locker room issues. I'm not even hating on Micah. The reality is, though, that the head coach kind of seems to disagree a little bit with the approach right there. Now, we can get into a whole other discussion about have the Cowboys earned this? Like, because you haven't extended Dak Prescott, because you haven't extended CeeDee Lamb, because you haven't extended Micah Parsons, have the Cowboys put themselves in a position where this is what happens? Like, you're not rewarding the top dogs of the team? Well, kind of don't care if I miss a week or two of OTAs. And with CeeDee, if he had been extended 2 years ago, he would be around. He would be talking to Ryan Flournoy. He would be talking to Jalen Tolbert, to Jalen Brooks, to all those guys. But you're in this spot where now it kind of really, is maybe unsurprising that these guys are not around. I mean, Dak is obviously because he plays quarterback, and it's weirder for a quarterback to hold out. But yeah, it's kind of like a situation where part of me wants to be there's no big problem here, but also there's another part of me which cannot hide the fact that it is unideal and that it is something that your head coach isn't happy with. And I'm not trying to attack Mike McCarthy, by the way, for saying all that he said, but this is me trying to make sense of a situation that, in my opinion, shouldn't be a situation, because I cannot get on board with believing that the trade-off of Micah not being there is worth it. Now, they are voluntary workouts, right? And Mike McCarthy even joked about it in the press conference. But then again, he is still saying 98% of the players are here. I'm not talking about the guy that's not here. You know what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Let me know in the chat. What do you make of this situation? Let me know. Is this an overreaction, or deep down, do you kind of know what I'm talking about here? Toxic Tom says the Dallas front office has not done all offseason, so you want players to care? F out of here, says Toxic Tom, which is a totally valid point. And it's kind of like what I meant with, the whole thing about the Cowboys have kind of earned this as well. So difficult to go all out against Micah for not being there because of the way that the Cowboys front office have done things. Concerning that that this is a thing, maybe, yeah. Like I would much rather, in a way, have this be a Micah issue than a Cowboys issue, but I believe it's the latter. But if it's really a Cowboys issue to the point where the players are like, yeah, I don't care if I miss some time from OTAs, now that's even more concerning to me, because that's kind of like confirmation of our biggest fears, right? Rich Coleman says overreaction, but it is a topic, right? Like he said, it is a topic. So I think we're kind of all on the same page where it's like, I don't want to make this a big deal, but it is still something that, I'm not talking about this because it's May 30th, Sometimes when we're in the offseason, it's like, man, what can I talk about? Well, let's discuss this one thing. I don't feel like this is one of those things. I feel like, okay, this is noteworthy. And I'm going to be honest with you, couldn't catch the press conference live because it wasn't on YouTube. Usually they live stream it on YouTube, but now kind of said that, it was going to begin. I'm guessing there were some technical issues on there. So then I had to go to the website and watch the presser from there, but it was already started. So I missed all of the Micah Parsons things. But I kind of read on Twitter like a post about this whole thing, and it didn't register what Mike McCarthy was saying. So when I reread it and then I watched the presser, I was like, oh, this is actually something relevant and something that matters. Katharina, shout out to you. Katharina says overreaction. I heard he was going to the Mavs game. Going to the Mavs game shouldn't really interfere, maybe. I mean, it's a road game, right, for the Mavs. I mean, sure, that might be fair, I guess. Like if it's a road game and he's over at the Mavs game. And by the way, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he's there, but wouldn't be a surprise, right? The game is in Minnesota. Second quarter, by the way, the Mavericks are winner. Luka Doncic is going off. I mean, I guess it's fair, but also kind of, is it, I mean, they might win the series tonight, which might be kind of like the big thing right there. But it's a good point right there from Katharina, right? Micah potentially being there. But still, the head coach doesn't seem happy. Toxic says, Mo, if you're Micah, why would you want to be here long term? He wants to win, and Dallas clearly does not care as much as he does. I guess my thing with this whole thing is like, is that the situation we're going through right now? Or is that our glasses of, are we looking at it through the lenses of frustrated fans that have been waiting for a Super Bowl win since the 1990s? Is that, I would much rather lean towards the latter rather than Mike Parsons sitting there looking at over the cap, reading a thread on Twitter about how the Cowboys don't optimize for cash over cap like other NFL teams do, and Micah coming to the realization after watching and listening to 5 different Cowboys podcasts that, hey, this team does not want to win right here. I kind of think that he just wanted to go to the Mavs game, and I'm not saying the Cowboys front office is right for the way that they handle things. You guys know that we've been criticizing that consistently on primetime, specifically when it comes to the financial aspect of things. But I also objectively would go, yeah, that might not be it for Micah. Like, that might not be the issue with Micah. He might not be at a point where it's like, yeah, I want to leave. I don't know. Gregory says, like I said before, what is Mike McCarthy supposed to say? He can't fire him. Oh, and by the way, this is not me saying Mike McCarthy should get him. I'm not even saying Mike McCarthy is in the wrong. I'm not even sure I'm saying Micah Parsons is exactly in the wrong, because it is voluntary workouts. And we might be making way too big of a deal out of it. But, the classic big deal, small deal, no deal question, I wouldn't say no deal. I would say at least, small deal. It is something that I believe we should be talking about. But anyways, shout out to Rich, man. Thank you for the super chat. I've got a sound effect for that. Wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. Here we go. How about them Cowboys? Or I could also hit you with a... Yeah! Here we go! Rich says, good job, Mo. I like your platform. Keep up the great work. Rich, thank you so much for the comments, man. We at A to Z Sports Dallas, man, we've been working so hard to get you quality Cowboys content. Shout out to Skywalker Steel. We should totally do one of those crossover shows, by the way. We have not done one in a while. I'm going to hit up Sky and try to arrange something for maybe next week. We'll see if he's up for that. What voluntary means, says L Cool. And that's exactly what Mike McCarthy referred to today. He referred to that famous quote in Cowboys history. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on, though. Let's move on a little bit here and talk about some big news that dropped in the NFL world that directly impact the Cowboys, honestly. And I'm talking about another wide receiver contract. Another one of them dropped. This one was a little bit different, though, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes out there. All right, now let's rewind a little bit further. It's April 24th. The Cowboys are holding a pre-draft press conference where no one from the press wants to talk about the prospects. No one from the press wants to talk about the team needs. They all want to talk about why didn't you sign anybody and why haven't you not extended any of your big 3 players, right? And it's funny to me, man, because Jerry Jones says, we want to see more leaves fall, right? Specifically when talking about CeeDee and Dak, he says, we want to see more leaves fall. Never mind that some of the best front offices in the NFL are gaining a significant salary cap advantage by getting ahead of the market and by getting extensions done earlier instead of later. But Jerry Jones wanted to see more leaves fall. The leaves fell, right? Almost as if it was the fall. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, shortly after that, goes out there. He gets himself a $30 million per year contract. A.J. Brown from the Eagles, who, by the way, have paid a ton of players this year. And recently, they already paid Jalen Hurts his big-time contract. So kind of like that excuse about paying the quarterback, looking a little bit old-fashioned there for the Cowboys because the Eagles are still doing it anyways. But A.J. Brown gets a deal that also exceeds the $30 million per year mark. He gets 32 per season. And that obviously drives up the price of CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, who also is looking for a new contract. But what about Jalen Waddle getting paid? And I mean Jalen Waddle specifically because that guy is not a wide receiver 1. He might have the talent to be one. Maybe for another NFL team, he could be one. But the man in Miami is Tyreek Hill. And then Jalen Waddle. He still got $28.25 million per year. And he got $76 million guaranteed for a 3-year contract. that's a huge win for CeeDee Lamb. And that is the Cowboys getting more of what they asked for when Jerry Jones said, I want more leaves fall. Leaves keep falling, Jerry, and price keeps going up for CeeDee Lamb. And we're getting to a point where I've talked about this before. We're all very aware that it seems like Cowboys not extending Dak Prescott could actually happen. Before, it kind of felt like, hey, they're playing it cold, but they're going to get it done anyways, and they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done. But right now, the leverage that Dak has over the Cowboys is so overwhelming that we really don't know. He's playing it patient as well, and he might hit free agency in 2025. And I've talked about this before, to play into CeeDee's decision-making. Does CeeDee want to be in a Cowboys team that does not have Dak Prescott? Or does he want to test free agency himself and be like, what's out there, and can I pick the quarterback that throws me the football? And maybe I even reunite with Dak Prescott, which would be insane. But that's an interesting situation right there to look at. How does Dak's deal impact CeeDee's deal? Because the expectation is that Lamb gets his contract done before Dak does. Because right now we don't even know if the Dak deal is going to get done at any point. So more NFL news that hurts the Cowboys, honestly. Let's see what you guys have to say here in the chat, though. Man, let's get it. Cowboys by nature, says Jerry, is an idiot. Jerry's full of shite, says Ratio. A lot of people are out here just dunking on Jerry Jones, and I can understand why. Isidro says CeeDee is going to get $34 million at average per year, says Isidro. Minimum. Man, I don't know about, he could. No, I'm just kidding. He could. I mean, AJ got $32 million per year, 84 of which is guaranteed. I'm looking at his contract, but also it's kind of like a long extension. So I haven't really looked deep into the AJ Brown contract, but I'm kind of guessing it might not be what it, man, I'm looking at it right now. The Eagles are wild. They're just wild, man. They do these option bonuses stuff. Let me tell you what the cap number is for AJ Brown over the next few seasons here. But first, let me close this ad, man. Election day for Mexico is on Sunday, so I keep getting like a lot of political ads on the internet. I think they cannot do it anymore though, so that's interesting. Anyways, cap number for AJ Brown is $11 million in 2024, 11.8, so basically 12. 2025, it's 17.6, right? And he's making he's making so much money in those 2 years. 2026, it's $23 million per year, and then it just balloons to 29 in 2029, and then 2030, which is the Boyd year, $53 million. So it's kind of like a creative contract, of course. But yeah, I could see CeeDee getting 34 per year. Yeah. Russell says, I expect CeeDee signings before camp. Number nothing for AJ, says Russell. I think the real standoff right now is between CeeDee and Justin Jefferson, because I think the market is going to price CeeDee higher than AJ Brown, but with Justin Jefferson, it becomes a legitimate question of who's better, right? Because Jefferson is insanely good, so it's a good debate right there. So both of them, they're waiting out probably on each other. And as Stephen Jones alluded to in April, they're probably talking to each other. The agents, of course, not the actual players, but the agents are. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for me tonight here on the show. I'll see you again next Sunday. We'll be live at 8 p.m. Central here on A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. And then next week, we might do some tweaking to the live show schedule, and we might do, I want to get some of those crossover shows. Maybe we'll get a guest on the show, but I'm not entirely sure if Thursday and Sunday of next week we're going to be live, because I am going to Mexico's version of the Super Bowl. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be working, but I might not be around for those live slots. So I'm going to try to make it up to you guys with an interview or something of the sort But we'll talk more about that next week. Do not worry. Enjoy your weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Appreciate you as always. And have a good one. Bye-bye.